Hey everyone, Namaste and welcome to this evening's conversation with Sensei Sandeep Desai. So, those of you who are here and listening in, please say hi in the comment section and please enter your questions as well. So, let's try and make this as interactive as possible. Now, just to introduce myself, my name is Shailaja Menon and I have been a yoga practitioner and teacher for over 20 years now. I began my journey in Coimbatore, India with integral yoga and continued in Malaysia with my teacher Manoj Kaimal. Along the way, I set up a studio, Mat and Beyond Yoga Studio, and my book Yoga Shakti was also published in 2018. I currently host a yoga show on Anand TV based in the UK called Yoga Shakti. So, as you can see, the yoga practice has shaped much of my life. Now, I began these conversations at the beginning of the lockdown in 2020 as a platform to share the authentic teachings of yoga as well as other great arts and philosophies of India. I would like to add that all of these conversations are available on our FB pages as well as my YouTube channel. So please do check it out and like and subscribe to it. Now, while yoga continues to be my passion, I'm also incredibly passionate about wellness as a whole. And I have understood that one of the primary contributors to that is our diet. And while exercise is great, and I'm a huge advocate of exercise as well, I have understood that as Dr. Mark Hyman, an American physician and a New York Times bestselling author, says, we cannot exercise our way out of a bad diet. So, from personal experience, I also know that this is one of the most difficult patterns for us to change because it has such a tight grip on us. So it is with a lot of awe and admiration that I introduced our guest this evening and allow him to educate us on the raw food diet that he follows and its benefits. So, for good measure, I also want to add another quote by Hippocrates, the father of, considered the father of modern medicine: "Let food be thy medicine." Yeah. So the importance of looking into our diet cannot be, like overstated. It's really the need of the hour. So, just to introduce our guest today, Sensei Sandeep Desai is a man with many passions and achievements in many fields. But what comes across is that he is primarily a seeker with a mission to share the well being that he has discovered in his life through his own explorations in many areas. His experiential wisdom from having experimented with his own life is what makes this conversation so relevant and special. There are many firsts attached to Sensei Desai's name. He holds a fifth degree black belt in Okinawa Shorin-ryu karate and is the first Indian to bring a new style of karate from Japan to India. Besides being a full time teacher of the martial arts for over 40 years now, he is also credited with introducing the original Chen style Tai Chi in India. He has a book to his credit, The Small Book of Tai Chi, and often writes for the popular Speaking Tree column in the Times of India. And that's not all. Now to his other passion, yoga. Sensei has dedicated more than 20 years to the regular practice of Iyengar yoga and for the past 8 years has been studying Ashtanga yoga from the world renowned and lineage holder Ma Saraswati ji of the Sri Patabi Jois Institute. Sensei has a vision to promote a healthy society through his raw food, yoga, and Tai Chi programs. And I think from his Facebook following, I have understood that he also holds several retreats, I think, throughout the year to help introduce people to all of these different programs. He also teaches these disciplines across India and the US. And he has also had the unique privilege of being facilitated by our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, then the Chief Minister of Gujarat, for making a significant contribution in the health and wellness sector in India. Now, he has also been featured on BBC World, Star Plus, Zoom, CNBC TV 18, ZTV, Doordarshan, and Times Now. So, yes, we are very honored to have him with us this evening. So let's get started. I know a lot of you must be eagerly waiting to, get to the meat of this discussion, which is really the questions and answers. So to start, let's just begin with, what what brought you into this, right? These are very, very, different fields. You were obviously into karate and yoga and all of that. And then what brought you into this raw food diet? Did you have like any health issue? What awakened you, like, to this whole diet industry, or not industry, but, lifestyle?
Namaskar, Shaileja ji. This is really exciting for me. I really consider myself blessed and privileged to be a part of this show. Anytime I get to spread the message, it's always a mission for me. And my deep regards and respect also to all the distinguished divine souls who are on their journey to better health and fitness. I have been, to cut the long story short, I have been eating predominantly raw for the past 5 to 6 years. Prior to that, I was following a vegan lifestyle for a couple of years. And prior to that, I was on a vegetarian diet. So I've gone from vegetarian diet to vegan diet to raw food diet. And I have gone through the gamut of experiences, change and evolution. And it has been a very fascinating journey. It all began actually with one health scare that I got in about 2011. I had just come back from China, and suddenly I was diagnosed with symptoms of thyroidism. I was in the bed for nearly 6 or 7 days. I would get fever every day, and I just couldn't figure out what was the contributing factor. And then I consulted a very senior physician, and I was diagnosed with this thyroidism. And I knew that thyroidism actually can have a very detrimental effect on your on every aspect of your life. And I wanted to rid myself of this terrible disease. So I was wondering that I have always been following a vegetarian diet, and I've always been careful about not putting any unhealthy stuff in my body. Besides, I have been active for so many years without a break. What could be the real cause? And that forced me to take my nutrition a lot more seriously. So the first thing I did was to consult a very respected, renowned nutritionist, Srimati Anju Venkatji. She is the daughter of legendary Vijaya Venkatji, who has worked with farmers, and she has done an epic job of spreading the correct information about health and nutrition. And she asked me to fill out a questionnaire where I had to mention that during the past 4 or 6 months, what are the kinds of foods that I have been consuming. And then after going through that, my answers, she, I think, concluded that you have been eating a lot of tofu lately. And she was right, because in China, that was the only source of protein for me, because I was a vegetarian. And I love tofu. And I would, and every meal there would be at least 2 types of tofu, which is made out of soybean. And I would also drink soybean milk here, which was actually packaged and processed. So when she pointed out this, I decided to, omit that out from my diet. And soon my health improved and the symptoms vanished. But it had already set me on a journey. I wanted to take my health to an exceptional level. So then I turned vegan. She then wrote a diet for me. And she wrote my diet in such a way that anyway my habit of cooked food got dramatically reduced. She would say that the first thing you do in the morning when you start your nutrition is you start with a fruit, any seasonal fruit, and you can eat till you feel full, till you feel absolutely satiated. That's what I started doing. Then she said that At 12 o'clock, you have a glass of vegetable juice, all the seasonal vegetables like cucumber and beet and carrots and some greens. That also I followed. And then she said that when you eat your lunch or dinner, you choose one single grain diet. So if you are eating, and she also asked me to completely wean myself off whole wheat, and milk was out of question. So she said, don't mix the grains. Then she asked me to, she advocated that I chose millets more than the grain like rice or whole wheat. And that really significantly improved my health. And she also emphasized that before I start my meal, I should always begin, always, 10 out of 10 times, start with a dish of salad. So fruits, a glass of vegetable juice, salad, and then single grain diet. So you can imagine that, anyway, you cannot eat a lot of cooked food if you have been following this protocol. And then she mentioned that exactly 2.5 hours later, you eat one fruit, which is in season that you like. That also I did. And then the evening, she said that you can, again, have any millet. And she did not, of course, say that you should completely cut out rice. So I was consuming rice also. And that's how this went on for quite some time. But for some reason, the results that I was expecting in terms of, lightness, in terms of digestion, in terms of flexibility, strength, robustness, was for some reason eluding me. And so I was always on the lookout. I knew that there is one more step ahead. I just need to dig deeper. And that's when I started, that's when I discovered a raw food diet on the internet, on the YouTube. And that really caught my fancy. And I heard people like Dr. Doug Graham, Lauren Lockman, and a couple of other people who have been doing this for more than 2 or 3 decades. And they've written number of wonderful books. And so many people have, thousands and thousands of people have followed their diet and have benefited immensely. So one fine day, I switched to a raw food diet overnight. And to say that this was easy is to tell everyone a lie. No. Because if you have consumed,
now I feel better.
If you have consumed cooked foods all your life, dairy products and grains and starches and all this, mithais, naturally, your every cell of your body is now made up of cooked food. Because when you try to cast them off, when you try to get rid of them, the cravings kick in so intensely that very few people can put up with that difficult phase. Yeah, that's the time, you will be tested out big time. This is a path which is littered with several potholes, especially if you don't have anyone who you can turn to. So it's very, very important. It's absolutely crucial that you first educate yourself. You get yourself adequately educated before you take the final jump, And plus, this is a step-by-step evolution. One step at a time is the perfect recipe for success, as they say, So, because body does not like sudden shocks.
Correct.
So you have to make it easy. You have to also surround yourself by people who have been on the similar path, if not exactly on the same path. That really helps. And in my case, I really did not open out much about my journey to anyone. I would hold it in. So that was something that I should not have done, Then so when I address an audience, I would always urge them to speak their their whatever that they are going through, any difficult
Yeah.
moments. Not, but the problem is that most people are addicted to cooked foods. So who will be able to? Everybody, 10 out of 10 people will ask you to eat cooked foods, because that's what they have grown on, and that's what they
Yeah. So
think
we've
that.
been on from birth.
Yes, so this is a very solitary journey. It's a very, very solitary journey. If you are expecting your wife or your son or your daughter or your parents or your sister to accompany you on this journey, please don't do that. You will be disappointed. So you really have, what stood me in good stead was my firm resolve and my deep abiding faith in nature, in the universe, in these teachers who I was following. And that is what has really helped me tremendously.
Okay, awesome. Wonderful to hear this, and even more happy to know that you also struggled along the way, because I really find this to be like the last hurdle, or the one of the biggest challenges, because I think it's for people who are naturally physically active, you can spend hours in the gym, or you can exercise a lot, practice, but to change your diet is a completely different set of challenges, and a lot of people
Yes.
I know face,
I'm sorry
like even
to
to give up
interrupt,
your
but
morning cup of coffee,
they said
it's
that
so hard.
it is far more easier to change a person's diet, to change his religion than to change his diet. Because
Yeah,
detox can be very intense and ugly. Detox
yeah,
is not something that uh, you can handle easily,
yeah.
because of
So
the
before
old
we,
material.
sorry, yeah, correct,
We are carrying
yeah.
a
So
lot
I,
of junk in our trunk. So until
yeah,
that junk really leaves the trunk, you are not going to feel great. And when you are detoxifying, see, the detoxification and rebuilding cannot happen at the same time. So when you
yeah,
are going through the process of detoxification, you will look anorexic. You will look all shriveled up. You will also, your body will also emit a lot of foul smell. People will not want to be around you, and you will look so out of sorts that whoever sees you after a long gap will invariably ask this question: are you recovering from some long-term illness? What has happened to you? And this can really, really shake you to your core. And this is the time you really have to uh, stay firm and continue to
yeah,
believe in yourself.
yeah. So I just want to say hi to all of the viewers who have come here. A lot of them, like it at our studio, Matt and Beyond, we actually have a small group of people who are very interested in diet as well, and we follow the intermittent fasting. So a lot of them, especially like my friend here, Viji, also is on the path to becoming a vegan, I think. And then there's my aunt there. So just saying hello, thank you all for joining in. There's another good friend Uma who's also part of the group, who's here. There's Padmini, and there's a beautiful comment by Ignatius' uncle, who's doctor from the UK. So he says we have to have strong self-discipline in our lifestyle, and the diet is important. We have to treat food as a traffic light, red, amber, and green, and use it sensibly. Let us also have emotions first to protect our self-esteem and build emotional resilience. Yes, emotions have a big play on our diet and dietary patterns as well. So that is a good point there. So hi to Kaustuba, who's also joined us, and yeah. So Kanika, thanks for commenting, and uh, Kaustuba, I think your pastas will have to go first. So, just coming back to the diet, and we went over it, whether it was a struggle and all of that, and I think I really want to go into the benefits, like for people to continue watching our show as well, and to really, I even when I was writing a book, the first thing I really put out is the benefits, right? So why should you even think about this, till you know the benefits? And we actually started on that, in the earlier conversation where you talked about detoxification, and I think we should just continue with that. And also in our earlier conversation when we were speaking, we were talking about that how even a lot of grave illnesses can be we can get a release from that through changing our diet. And especially raw food diets are very, very useful towards that. So maybe we should just talk a little bit about the benefits of raw food.
Sure. There is a long list. There is a long laundry list of benefits. The benefits are
Yeah.
immeasurable, and the
Yeah.
benefit is uniquely experienced by each practitioner, because we all have different needs, no? And in my case, it has gifted me the best health of my life. It has put me in the best shape of my life, I should say. My energy is through the roof. I have a flawless digestion. I rarely experience fatigue, and the mental fog that used to cloud my perception
Correct.
and stop me from thinking clearly is all now gone. It's become a thing of past. So definitely it has turned around my life, and I would recommend this big time. My only advice to people is that you please seek professional guidance. You don't be on your own, because when you will hit uh, a hurdle for sure, because this is not a path that you will see yourself progressing consistently. There will be times when you will be feeling deprived, though this is a lifestyle of abundance. This is not a lifestyle of deprivation. When people think of raw food diet, the image that gets conjured up in their mind is that only cucumber and carrots and uh, tomatoes and few lettuce leaves. No, that's not the. I mean, there is a lot more to it than just salads. I mean, you can ferment, you can dehydrate, you can blend, you can do so many things with raw food, and the options are limitless. But we don't realize this, that switching to a natural raw food diet means going from consuming foods that are acid forming to eating living foods that allow the body to be more alkaline. The body that is alkaline simply equates better health. High protein diets, they actually stress, inflame, and even damage your kidneys. So this raw food diet is low in protein. That means your kidneys can enjoy better health. And processing and cooking foods destroy vital living enzymes. And when this happens, the enzymes must then be drawn from your pancreas. So this depletes your enzyme bank. No? So with living
Yeah.
foods, your bowel movements are clearer and more frequent and regular.
So I think we went over many benefits, but I just want to go over it again. So we really emphasize, like when people hear the word diet, right? They only associate it with losing weight and things like that. But really, it's I mean, to me also, the pursuit of even making changes to what I eat, or diet, as they say, is really about health. Yeah, health and wellness, and physically, and to me, mind, when I say health, is really not just physical health, because to me, body, mind, everything is the same. And like you say, even just having a clear mind, no brain fog, all of that are such great benefits. So I think we have to understand that this diet and what we eat is really not just about weight loss, but it's really about our state of wellness and the manner in which we live our lives on different dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, all of that. Like I mean, I read a lot of Dr. Mark Hyman. So right, even the food that we eat, what people don't understand is that it affects our emotional state as well. So they say, in fact, a lot of foods that we eat can result in or even if we have the tendency towards depression, it can actually help to increase all of that, increase anxiety. So to understand that food is such a vital part of our existence in terms of our wellness, mental, physical, emotional, all of those different states. And also the detoxification that you were talking about is so important, right? Everybody talks about detoxification, but to understand that it can be done through the everyday foods that we eat, and we don't really have to go on just a special program for that and then go back to our random eating patterns after that. And of course, what is, immeasurable is our energy and vitality, which I think is really something that cannot be bought. And in terms of clarity of mind, reduction of brain fog, all of that are such great benefits to to the diets that we follow. So just to emphasize that diet is such an important aspect of our existence, and it's really not just limited to weight loss, as most people tend to look at diets. And like you said, even serious illnesses you were talking about, right?
Yes. See, many
Where
of us
can
don't. Yeah, yeah. Many of us don't realize that our 60 to 70% of our precious energy is going towards digestion every single day. And digestion is a major labor intensive exercise. So that when digestion is less demanding, naturally your physical and mental energy is bound to improve by leaps and bounds. And you will always have more energy for repair, healing, for reversing any health issues that you might be facing. So it's very, very
Yeah, so
important
really,
that you make it easy for the body.
yeah. So
And
I
the
mean,
other
I think
other
this is
factors are
especially
just
important.
as important. The sunlight, you have to be able to meet the body's requirement as the nature intended. You just can't be relying only on food. You also have to spend enough time out in the nature. If you want to command nature, you will have to learn to obey nature. Nature to be commanded must be obeyed. So many of us are far removed from nature today, completely out of
Yeah,
sync with reality.
yeah. So we have many questions that have come up, but I just want to go over the next question as well, and then we'll take up the questions from the comment section. What do you eat on an everyday basis, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Mm. What do I eat?
So give
Well,
us, and give us a lowdown on your diet. What is it that you eat?
yes. See, these days, for many last, I think 3 or 4 years, I've been uh, following intermittent fasting. So I divide my day into 3 cycles. I consider the time between 4 a.m. till 12 p.m. This is the time that your body detoxifies. So this is the time you are better off not putting anything in your system. So you will be, though I don't really recommend, because this is an earned thing, but I don't put even a drop of water till 11:30. And I do intensive sadhana. Have I practice Ashtanga yoga for nearly 2.5 hours. Then I head outdoors for my Tai Chi class. And by the time I come back home, it's usually 11:30. So I'm absolutely fine. I have never felt deprived of anything. I mean, liquid or not. Many people, as soon as they wake up, they want to have this juice and that juice. I don't experience any need. Then 11:30, depending on my activity level, either I would have a coconut water, and these days I've been having that drink called gorilla drink. So coconut water with the meat of the coconut, and 50% of it is consists of the green juice. So coconut water and green juice put mixed together. That is my first meal, you can say, of the day. And then an hour or so later, I will have a huge, really huge bowl of fruits that are in season. And actually, I've always had a massive sweet tooth. I used to be a sugar addict. But back then I was in the habit of drinking milk with fruits and uh, with sugar, the most damaging thing a one can do, to one's health. And that's the worst culinary crime that one can make. So it was, in that respect, I did not have a very difficult time, because I've always gravitated towards foods that have got a lot of sugar. So in my lunch, I will invariably have sweet fruits, because sweet fruits, you need calories because lunch is the largest meal of my day. So I hope to put at least 1,000, 1,200 calories in my lunch. So invariably, either it is bananas or papaya or if mangoes, if they are in season. And I can easily handle 8 to 10 bananas at a time. I can easily handle 8 to 10 mangoes at a time. Because many people don't realize that if you come onto this lifestyle of abundance, over a period of time, your stomach muscle begins to expand, like just like any other muscle. So you can easily accommodate a huge quantity of fruit. And remember one thing, that fruit is a complete food. Fruit is a gift from the tree. The tree wants you to eat the fruit. And fruit has got sugar, it has got fiber, and it has got water. And during my research, I discovered that in the olden days, back in time, our original diet, you will be very, very astonished to know this, was 50% greens and 50% fruit. This was our original diet. And we have moved away from that. We are so used to eating highly processed junk that we completely feel lost. Even if you have to skip one meal, most people can't skip one meal because that is so addicting, so toxic that you just can't function without it. So that is my lunch, sweet fruit, all along with some greens. This is one thing that I would wish to point out, that when I first embarked on this journey, the mistake that I was making, though there is no such thing as a mistake, there is no right or wrong way to do things, but I was not including enough greens along with my fruit. So that was the major mistake. I think it is a serious lapse that I was making. And because of that, there was just too much sugar going without adequate intake of greens. And that used to really make me feel a bit uneasy. Later on, I would not feel very great. But then I discovered that, all this ashwagandha or spirulina or moringa, all these green powders, chlorella, then barley grass, then wheat grass. Before I forget, before I move on, do you know that 2 ounces of wheat grass juice is equivalent to 5 pounds of green vegetables? Isn't that amazing? So first thing these days I start my day with is wheat grass, and I prefer to chew the wheat grass, because they say that in 90 seconds, only in 90 seconds, 90% of the nutrition gets lost. So you have to consume it within seconds. So I prefer to chew raw. And then once I have this huge bowl of fruits, I don't want to look at food for at least another 6 hours. I don't want to drink anything. I don't want to even, that thought just doesn't cross my mind of eating anything. And in the evening meal, it's in 9 out of 10 times, it's a family size of salad. You will find vegetable of every color in my salad. And do you know that the secret is in the sauce? The sauce each day is different, so it feels like I'm eating a new dish. And and there is so much variety, that this is something that I realized only when I came onto this lifestyle. So there is so much. There is a wide array of vegetables that you can choose from. And then,
so your sauce sounded really interesting. Can you just say something else about your sauce? Like, what kind of sauces do you make?
It's different. Sometimes I have this tahini,
okay,
sesame seeds, and some tomatoes and all the spices, and maybe you can put 2 or 3 dates or raisins, because your salad has to have all the tastes, sweet, sour, acid, little bit spicy. Then, because taste is what we are actually hankering after. So it's different. Sometimes it is nut based, sometimes it is seed based, Sometimes I also put, I make dressing out of coconut meat and some all the greens like curry patta and coriander and all this
Yeah.
cilantro and all this basil. There is so much. There is so much that you can put in.
Where do you get your recipes from, or do you create them on your own?
I always,
It's
I always,
fascinating. Like,
I always remain on the lookout for a new recipe. So suddenly I have become very active, very curious, very open-minded. I'm always willing to embrace new things, willing to, because this is something you can only learn through trial and error. Someday it will not turn out as good as you thought it would. And so you've learned a lesson and then you move on. So this is how you evolve over a period of time. And it's, this is a journey. So it's not like that, that once you go wrong, you will always go wrong.
yeah, I've seen your pictures on Facebook with your salads. Like, they're huge and they're very interesting. And, like you say, you add a lot of greens. And I think you also add a lot of, other stuff, sprouts and all of that to it.
Yeah, and microgreens have been a huge part of my salads lately. And I grow my own microgreens, also baby greens, because these greens, it's the future of the mankind, microgreens, because you can easily grow them in your own home. You don't have to really go out to procure them. And the nutrition that they offer is 100 times more than the raw vegetable. Just imagine the nutritional profile. If you study, it is several notches higher than the normal vegetables.
Yeah, so your salads look very interesting whenever I've seen them whenever you shared them on Facebook.
Yeah,
So I have some.
sometimes I spiralize the zucchini and make a raw lasagna, I also make pizzas using a dehydrator out of seeds and zucchini and some nuts. So my life
You
has
really
been
have
very,
to
very.
start a YouTube channel with all these recipes in there.
I'm already in the process
Something
of
for you
coming
to
out
think
with a book.
about. Yeah, I mean, your recipes seem really delicious. And like you say, people setting out on this journey need some support, right? So if you have a book or you have a YouTube channel or something, there's somewhere people can refer to.
Yes, yes. That's why I'm always looking forward to opportunities to be of service to the society. I consider myself as a servant because we are here to serve.
True.
I'm also
So
very
I'm just taking a
philosophical in
question.
my attitude.
Okay, so there's a question from Reena, my aunt in Singapore. So she says, are you allowed cheat days like a Sunday or a full moon day, or is there like no cheat days?
Earlier, I used to keep a cheat day. It used to be Friday, and Friday I would allow myself to eat anything that as the whim struck. So I would eat sometimes it would be idli, sometimes it would, but I always there were certain non-negotiable, like the bread. I have not eaten bread for the past 8 or 9 years. I have not put that white sugar in my system for the past 8 or 9 years. Certain things are out of question, but I do eat a roti made out of millet, especially during the winter, because during the winter your body craves for some warm food. So I make an allowance. So it's not like I'm 100% raw foodist 100% of the time. I used to have that fixation, but I'm quite free from that. I want to enjoy, because people like to bond over food. That food is one thing
Correct.
over which people like to bond with each other. So I don't
Yeah.
really like to emphasize when people are around. I will make sure that I eat enough raw food. That's my first requirement. And by then I'm 75%, 80% satiated if I've had a huge bowl of salad, and then maybe one roti or a little bit of khichdi kind of a thing made out of millet, but just 4 or 5 spoons, just for the taste, just so that I
Yeah.
feel that I'm not deprived of anything. And also
Yeah.
it helps me to be among people, because they
Yeah.
otherwise feel that, why are you trying to set yourself apart? But I carry my own food wherever I go, even to a restaurant. You will not believe, even when I go to my in-laws' place, I carry my own meals. So they used to have a big problem, in the beginning. But then I would explain my situation that I need to eat 12 bananas, which are freckled, with brown spots. Where can I find? Suppose if they are not there, then where we'll have to, scout around, and that takes time. So might as well carry my form the habit now. And everyone has accepted it. Even when I attend a wedding, I carry my own food. And people are looking at me, and they relish everything, all the dishes of the wedding or the function. And then because I eat very slowly, I must say this, I eat way too slowly. I can drive anybody crazy. I spend at least 1 hour for my meal. Even if I'm eating just a fruit, it takes me 1 hour. Because you can call me crazy if you must, but I chew my food at least 70 to 80 times. I allow the
That's a
food to
good
get
thing.
completely mixed with the saliva.
Yeah.
So, and
That's
when they
good.
look at my food, they say they regret, oh, that was not, this is the food that one must be eating, not that food what we just consumed.
So people are appreciative of your dietary patterns, but not so
Yes,
willing to join you.
yes. But there is all, I'm already setting them to think. It's just a matter of time. I have met so many people, some of my relatives. I used to advocate that green juice so big time, all the time. And then so many of them started following, and the results have been astonishing. Results have been so remarkable uh, of consuming that glass of green juice that it is in your face. So when people comment that your skin is glowing, you are looking so toned now, that whatever dark circles that you had have all vanished, then people feel really, the confidence goes up. No? They feel bolden up. So this is how actually the
Yeah.
change comes about in the society.
Yeah. So anyway, we have another question here from my good friend Mini, who says, having a handful of raw peanuts and a glass of milk good for fatigue. What is the best food for building up stamina? Like a lot of people suffer from this chronic fatigue, right? So what do you do to, like, what is your stand on milk, right? I guess you don't take milk, right? You said you were vegan.
No, 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 because milk actually does not score uh, too good on the nutritional scale. It's a poor food. It's nothing but it's a liquid meat. You must have seen that people who are consuming milk or dairy products, and people who are consuming uh, non-vegetarian food, they suffer from the same set of problems, because it is high cholesterol, and there is no iron in the milk, there is no vitamin C, and it has got that glue-like substance, which is known as casein, no? Which the carpenters use it as a glue. So just imagine what it would be doing to your intestines. And they say that if you are drinking milk for calcium, you don't know that it is robbing your body of calcium, making your bones brittle in the time to come, inviting disease like osteoporosis and arthritis. Milk is not a human food. It has very little food value. And peanuts also, I must tell you, to some people, I'm going to disappoint them, but also is acidic. So you have to soak them overnight to break down the protective layer, or to break down the enzyme inhibitors before you consume them. And also in moderate quantity. You can't go overboard on peanuts. So
And
for
what
you,
is your stand on nuts? You take nuts, right? Nuts is
yes,
allowed in your raw food diet.
nuts are an integral part of raw food diet. And nuts, but don't make the mistake of mixing nuts with fruits. They belong to a different family. They cannot, if you consume them together, it will cause fermentation. Your digestion will be delayed. So don't make the mistake of mixing nuts with fruits. You can consume nuts with salad because you need to have a fat component in your salad, like an avocado or walnuts, because walnut in particular are very important because it has got omega-3. So a lot of us have enough omega-6 but not enough omega-3. So it is important to have flax meal or chia seeds or hemp seeds. Hemp seed is complete protein. So if you are looking for protein, hemp seed is complete source of protein. And the fat component goes well with salad, with vegetables, not with fruit. Avocado also is a fatty fruit. It should not be combined with sweet fruit like banana or chiku or mango. So you have to follow all this. You have to educate yourself. Otherwise, you will not get the results that you are, seeking.
Yeah. So now I see why you say that you have to go with a guide or, somebody to help mentor your whole process.
Yes, yes.
So I have my, again,
And
cousin
the stamina,
Karthi here.
yeah, for the stamina part, you have to make your system clean and efficient and robust. Once the system is clean and efficient and robust, then you can generate energy from your sleep. You can generate energy from the rest. Actually, energy never comes from the food. There is a big fallacy. It's a widespread misconception that energy is something that comes from the food. It comes from the sunlight. It comes from the rest. It comes from the sleep. That these are the primary sources of energy. So if you find yourself lacking in energy, the quality and the amount of sleep is the first thing that you should be looking into. And also, you need to figure out whether whatever food that you are consuming, are you able to make use of them? Or you are just not able to process them and, in a very satisfactory way. Then you are not going to feel great. So for you to be able to feel great, the first thing is that you start taking an enema. Enema is the first thing that you should be taking if you are really looking to get rid of all the cement-like hard material from your intestines in the colon that has actually lodged, for many years. So that's a part of detox. No? So in the beginning, you will feel a little weak, but once you start consuming all the vital living foods, busting out of flavors, just a matter of time, you will bounce back and you will feel on top of the world. And actually, when I started, once I saw the detoxification of that process, and I started rebuilding. Now it's been a couple of years. I feel that I have achieved the God. It feels so special. It feels so unique, and you are always feeling centered, calm, focused. You feel always light, and the anger. I used to get angry because I used to be a martial artist, and though martial art also tempers, lowers your temper, but there were times when I would lose my cool, and this has really calmed me down. I'm as cool as a cucumber now.
Yeah. So those of you who would like to know about what raw food is, you can just read the comments, right? So Karthi has written a lot about raw foods. And the last line I'll just read of her comment, that the goal is to eat foods in the natural state without any kinds of processing or heating that can change their structure. And then I have a question here from Kaustubh. It's a very nice comment from Kanika Jain as well, who says to be with the 5 elements of nature, sun bath, since water has memory, be mindful while walking in water, while using water, barefoot walking, breathing exercises, meditation, focus on cosmos energy. So it's very nice to see the holistic plan here towards wellness. So Kaustubha wants to know whether this is any traditional source of wisdom or is it modern Western science approach? I guess just a question from a yoga teacher. So
Dr. Kaustubh, Desika Church.
Yeah.
My biggest, deepest respect to Dr. Kaustubji. He is doing such an epic job of spreading the correct teachings of, the great Krishnamacharya ji. And I have been following the same tradition in my sadhana, so I can so very well relate to the work that he does. And this is something that I feel that this is there has not been much awareness about the raw food nutrition. It's a new science in a way, and we are see so many of us are facing issues and health problems that we no longer can deal with. That are we feel that whatever that we are doing is not really proving to be enough, and there is something that we need to keep exploring. So now there is a whole raw food community out there. So many people have been writing books, and every day I come across more and more people who are embarking on this journey, and this is so much backed by science. And I can say from my own personal experience, see, one thing I want to make it abundantly clear, that whatever I have said so far has come from my own personal experience, not from the hearsay. I am someone who first likes to experience for myself before sharing this to anyone, because this is such a delicate subject. Food is a very people are so touchy about this subject. So many people say, please don't talk about the food, let me enjoy what I'm used to. So it has been now 8-9 years on this journey, and I have benefited immensely. I've felt its effects time and time again, every day. And every time I have faltered and tried to go back to cook food diet, my system has not really supported me. And I always felt very heavy, and I found it very, and I feel that humans are the only species on this planet which wants to destroy their food before consuming them. Look at any animal
Great
in the
perspective.
natural world. They want to eat everything in the raw natural state, and one type of food at a time. Nature never produced a sandwich. Nature never produces a sandwich. It is the humans who have gone ahead and made this. So it is high time that we go back to nature and bring about balance. Life is about bringing the whole life, everything that we do, into a state of balance. And once we achieve that, I think this body is made for 100 years. And you must have seen that man is the only creature who suffers poor health in his later years, when he's in the evening of his life, right? Any animal you will not see, they become they have to walk with a limp, or their posture dramatically worsens or deteriorates. And every creature on this planet lives out their lifespan. Suppose if a dog is, if his lifespan is 10-12 years, it will finish its lifespan. It will not die prematurely. So there is a lot we can imbibe from these creatures, from nature.
True. Very good answer in terms of going back to nature. So I guess in many ways, this diet is as old as nature, right? So it's not really new in that sense. And there's Dr. Ananda also, who has who's listening, and he has commented, and he's liked your comments about that we are here to serve. And he's quite amused that you take your food to your in-laws as well. And then you already have people lining up for your recipes. So there's my good friend Sangeeta, all the way from Coimbatore, who says she would love some recipes. And Kanika again has given an option for calcium, right? As a good source of calcium is still. So just I mean, I had some 8 questions. I think I'm only at question 3 or something, but we're already almost at an hour. So I would just go to this one last question here about, if somebody wants to get started on a raw food diet, so how do they go about it? Like, what would you
Yes.
recommend? What are the
Very,
first baby steps people can take?
very relevant question. Very relevant question, I must say. the first thing you do is you look at yourself, take a hard look at yourself. If you are someone who has been consuming non-vegetarian food, then your first goal or the first step should be to make a switch to a vegetarian diet. If you are a vegetarian, if your diet is it's a vegetarian diet, then you can think in terms of vegan. You can think in terms of giving up milk and dairy products. I think dairy products and wheat are just not human food at all. Even if you can get yourself to eliminate these two foods from your list of food items, you will do yourself the greatest favor, and your body will ever be thankful to you. And give it a shot for a month, just for 21 days. Just see if it doesn't work, if it doesn't give you the results, you can always go back to your old ways, right? So always one more step, and if people who are vegan, then they can start thinking in terms of turning raw vegan, but with enough education and over a period of time, one step at a time. One time, all great journey begins with one small step. That's what the Lao Tse Chinese scholar wrote centuries ago.
Yeah, so I think that in many ways, I think this has been your journey as well, right? Like you became a vegetarian and then you became a vegan, and then
no, I was never on a non-vegetarian diet ever. I have always been following a vegetarian diet. I mean, I must have eaten some chicken, when I was in college, just to, just to be with the friends, just to gain an acceptance.
Yeah.
But that's about it all.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of like proportion, right? So suppose somebody wants to go raw food, right? If you don't want to do like 100%, what is your accept? Like you said, you yourself, once in a way you have, like a roti and all of that. So what percentage would you say, like 80-20 or 90-10, or what would you recommend?
See, whenever you eat, very good question again. Whenever you eat a cooked meal, make sure that the grain part is only 25%. And the 75% should come from vegetables and salads. Only 20 to 25% of the grain. So the portion of the vegetables should be much larger. And chew your food. The time that at which you eat also is just as important. If you have your last meal at 10 o'clock in the night when the oxygen level has dropped, you are not going to feel great. You are not going to thrive next day. So it really helps to finish your dinner while the sun is still up. Daylight dinner,
So what time do you have dinner? Your last meal?
Honestly speaking, not at around 7:30. So I would like to finish it by 6:30, but that has not been happening. So you must accept things that you cannot change.
Okay. So I think that is a really useful, tip for people to get started. And then also I remember you telling me in our conversation also to always, like you just mentioned it here as well, to always start with a big salad, right? So that also helps to make sure that you get a large proportion of your meal from your fruits and vegetables.
Yes. And don't mix fruits with cruciferous vegetables. Yeah, don't mix fruits. Fruits are best when they are eaten alone on an empty stomach. So morning lunch is the best time to eat a fruit, and the breakfast is the best time to eat a fruit. Evening you can also eat a fruit, but if you are eating fruit, then don't eat anything else. Otherwise, the solid foods will take like 4 or 5 hours to process, and fruits hardly take any time. So then it starts queuing up. So then you will not get the best nutrition out of a fruit, or even from the solid food, because they will ferment. So, and you just experiment. You just don't believe anyone. Just experiment and see.
So what is the minimum? Like, suppose somebody's getting started on this. Like, what is the minimum amount of time that we should give ourselves?
See, this
for it to work, to feel the benefit. Like, is 1 week enough? 10 days? What would you recommend?
Yeah, we are all in the different stages of awakening. So somebody might take a bit longer. Somebody whose system has not been abused or has been abused much less, he will detoxify or she will detoxify at a much faster rate, and he or she will start experiencing the true benefits much quickly. So it differs from person to person, but you can keep certain guidelines when you embark on this journey. That first thing that you do in the morning when you start your nutrition for the day, start with the fruit. Just one habit. Just tell yourself that tomorrow when I wake up, instead of having that cup of chai or cup of coffee, by the way, tea and coffee are toxic substances, and it is worse than a meat, that black tea. So you know that the fields where this is grown, coffee and plantations, coffee plantations and tea plantations, there is no fencing. They don't even put up a fencing because even the animals don't eat them. They also instinctively know that there is no nutrition in here. So instead of having that cup of chai or coffee, opt for a fruit which is in season and high water content fruit, not sweet fruit, high water content fruit like watermelon or pineapple or oranges, like that, because your body needs to be hydrated. Your water is the first thing. Our body is 75% made out of water. So look to put that, hydrate yourself, hydrate your joints and your muscles and tissues, and then you can and then if you feel hungry, then you can eat a little breakfast, but avoid putting those breads, because that maida, there is absolutely no nutrition there. Even bacteria don't touch it. That's why its longevity is endless, because it doesn't get it is not consumed even by the bacteria. So no breads, no maida, preferably nothing, no solid food till 12 o'clock. You can have a glass of green juice. You can put so many things in the green juice, and then salad, and then you can eat anything. And there are, if you want to keep cheat days, but at least start somewhere. Even if you start small, tell yourself, you need to encourage yourself. Well, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm making about positive changes, one thing at a time, and forgive yourself. This is not like the end of the world if you if you go astray. This is a journey, and
So
you will learn a lot.
yeah, so this friend of mine, Seema, she wants to know if honey is okay. Because I think these days we get so much of information from so many sources, right? So I guess it causes a lot of, somebody says this is good, somebody says this is not good. So what is your take on honey? Like,
I think
would you
I think
recommend it? No?
I don't consume myself honey, maybe, but also
Okay.
it's not like if somebody puts little honey, I will say I will not eat this. I will have it, but out of
Okay.
choice, I will not put honey. But honey should be okay, I
Okay.
feel. Yeah, honey is not as
Okay.
harmful as it is made out to be. But if it is extracted through uh, some violent means, then yeah, and if you are aware of it, then you should be, I think, keeping away from it.
Okay. So I think the questions here will run endlessly because, diet is such a huge topic, and we will probably, need to have another conversation here, but it's already, past 1 hour. So I think we should wind up this conversation. Thank you so much for your time and for so willingly agreeing to share the information that you have gained with so much difficulty, through your own life and, through experimenting with your own, different, facets of diet and all of these different things. So, like I said, your experiential wisdom is what makes this conversation so important. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
And
thank you so much. And
you grow only when you are out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, growth is not possible.
true. I guess you know a lot about it because I think you push yourself in, whatever that you undertake. I've seen your your asana photos and your videos and all of that. So your practice is, really a fantastic practice as well. So I know that you
Thanks to
believe in
Grace from
pushing
above.
yourself. Yeah. So thank you all viewers for your questions, for your comments, and for just being with us. And I really hope that you take something away from here, and just feel free to Sandeep ji is on Facebook as well, so you can always contact him as well. You can always contact us on this same page. Yeah, thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you. Deeply honored. Thank you, everyone, for taking out your time. Thanks. Blessings to you on your journey.
Thank you, Sandeep.